Yo, it's your boy Benny Gold, reporting live from New Management Studios. I got a very special guest in the building. Please introduce yourself for the viewers, man.
I'm Dr. Alan Rathburn. I'm a chiropractor in Clinton, Mississippi. Had Rathburn Chiropractic Clinic in Clinton, Mississippi for 36 years.
36 years. Let the people know about these principles that you've come up with.
Sure.
Your solution to a problem that the viewers may be having.
5 principle weight loss fat burning program to prevent type 2 diabetes and hypertension and obesity, because I'd have patients who came into my clinic that wanted to burn fat off and lose weight, but they couldn't do it because they just didn't know the principles of fat burning and weight loss.
What's the first principle?
Well, the first principle is breakfast. If you don't eat breakfast, it's virtually impossible to burn fat off of your frame. You have to fuel up in the morning, just like a car that would be driving, say, from Atlanta to Dallas, Texas, every day. When you get in that car, the first thing you're going to check is the gas. You have to fuel up your body first thing in the morning to try and get the fuel necessary to go all the way through till the end of the day. You cannot fuel up your body at night before you go to bed because you're not burning that many calories when you're sleeping. Breakfast is the most important principle.
Okay, gotcha. Let's go into what's the next principle?
The next principle is macronutrients: proteins, fats, carbohydrates. Each one of those macronutrients that you consume does something very different in the human body. There's 2 of them that are used for fuel, and proteins are the building blocks for your body. There's a lot that needs to be learned about macronutrients. I'm surprised at how many of my patients just don't know what each one of those macronutrients does.
What would be your next principle?
Well, the next principle is an exercise clock. Now, what that does is it teaches people how their body consumes calories through an hour of exercise. The first 30 minutes, you're burning mostly carbohydrates. The last 30 minutes that you exercise, you burn more fat tissue because the body holds those fats in reserve for long-term exercise. Think about it. Have you ever seen a swimmer or a marathon runner with a lot of fat tissue on their body? You don't see that because they do their exercise long term, and the body utilizes fats the longer you exercise.
What would be the next principle?
Next principle is how to design your own exercise program. It's called the exercise pyramid. There's 3 types of exercises. Stretching, flexibility, or yoga is the first one. Second one is aerobic exercise or cardiovascular. The third type is strength training, resistance, actually pumping iron in the gym, lifting weights to build strength and build muscle tissue. Each one of those does something different. No matter what exercise program you look into, it's going to be a combination or totally either flexibility, aerobics, or strength training, or a combination of those 3 things. They each do something different.
Personally, I wonder, and I'm sure a lot of viewers wonder, what is more important, or what should I focus more on, my diet or my exercise?
Well, if I was to give my opinion, it would be to work more on the exercise, performing more exercise as opposed to the dietary part, although they're both important. But a really good exercise program where you're performing exercise 5 and 6 hours a week will offset a bad dietary program. It's better to have more exercise and a lousy diet than a great diet and no exercise.
And that's because if you're not exercising, you're just not able to burn the fat necessary.
That's correct. You're not able to burn those calories that you're consuming off, and you can accumulate fat even with a great dietary program.
Okay, got you. So what would be your next principle?
The next principle is the genetic part. People think genetics is the most important part because mom and dad were big, that you're going to be big. That's not true at all. It's the least important principle. Although it's important, it's the least important principle. You can still overcome mom and dad being obese or overweight. You can still overcome that with a great exercise program and a really good dietary program. But where it comes in that it is genetic is mom and dad teach you bad dietary habits and bad exercise program. That's usually what happens.
Got you. So for somebody who did have that upbringing of where they have a lot of bad habits, dietary and exercise, what's some things that you could recommend they do to kind of fix that?
Well, the first thing is to eat breakfast. That's the most important thing. Like I said, if you don't eat breakfast, it's virtually impossible to burn off fat tissue. That's first. The second one would be to understand the macronutrients, proteins, fats, and carbs, what they do, and then design a good exercise program based on those macronutrients, the exercise clock, principle 3, and the exercise pyramid, principle 4. That will teach you how to design your own exercise program.
Okay. What's the next principle?
Well,
after genetics.
Well, after the genetics, I try and teach people the proper way to analyze their weight loss and fat burning program. Most people use weight, getting on the scale. That just tells you how much you weigh. Does not tell you how much of your body is made up of fat tissue. Percentage body fat is the way to go. That's your primary measurement you'll use. It's easy to do. It takes a body fat analyzer that you hold in your hands, costs about $50, and it will tell you how much of your body is made of fat. A healthy measurement for percentage body fat is below 21%. You are much healthier than if you are over 30% body fat.
Oh, and how much body fat does it take for someone to be considered overweight or obese?
Usually overweight is somewhere between over 25 to 30%.
Okay.
You get over 35%, that's obese. That's when your health is really going to start to suffer, when you have over 1/3 of your body weight as fat tissue.
What is another principle that you have?
The last principle is the principle of resistance or building muscle tissue. When you get in a gym and you really lift a lot of weight, really pump some iron, then what you're trying to do, the muscles are what burns the fat. And you want to build those muscles up in size and in strength, because that's what's burning the fat. If you do that every day for about 45 minutes to an hour and build the muscles up, then the body's metabolism is boosted, and even while you sleep, your body is burning calories to try and rebuild that muscle tissue that you just worked out during the day. And as a side note, sleep becomes much, much better.
Kind of speak on a little bit of your beginning part, like what got you into chiropractic and things like that.
Chiropractic appealed to me a number of different ways, but I graduated from Texas Chiropractic College near Houston, Texas in 1985. I started my own clinic back in 1988, and I've been there ever since. And I practice in Clinton, Mississippi. Mississippi is known to be the capital of diabetes and obesity. And I had so many patients with those two conditions. I had to start to do something to try and teach them how to treat these things naturally and to use proper principles of fat burning and weight loss.
Okay, okay. Well, I thank you so much for coming through, Dr. Rathburn, and giving those principles. I learned a lot today, and I'm sure our viewers definitely learned a lot with those principles. So again, just thank you for your time, and hopefully we can apply those.
Thank you for having me,
No
Ben.
problem,
I
no
appreciate
problem.
it.